We're rolling.
A few years ago, when I started learning to play bass in church, I prayed to God that if He would just let me learn to play it, I would always play it for Him. And in the few years that's followed, He's been faithful and I've been obedient. When I first started learning to play bass, I knew that sooner or later I'd want to get a better bass than what I had bought to start with. So a few months ago, I began looking in earnest at an American-made bass. And quite by accident, I ran across this company called G&L. It's the last company that Leo Fender actually owned. But anyway, when I was looking on their website one night, I noticed that they had a custom shop. And I went to the custom shop website and saw that they had a bass, their model L2000, that they were going to make a limited run of 100 with a spalted maple top. Now I didn't know what a spalted maple top looked like, but when I opened the website up, I just knew when I saw it that I had to have one. So I got together with a guy from a company called Guitar Adoptions. His name was Dave Smith, and he made arrangements to have one built for me with a little smaller neck than what comes on a normal guitar. And after I ordered it, I began to investigate the spalted maple and how it comes about looking like it does, and just the whole process of how they make the guitar. And what I learned was that a lot of different trees are subject to spalting, but it occurs mainly in a maple tree. Usually when a tree dies and it falls down is when it occurs, but it can occur any time that there is a breach in the tree's bark, whether a limb breaks off or an insect opens up the bark. And what happens is there's a fungus that's called white rot fungi actually begins to attack the wood. And left alone, it can actually just completely destroy the tree. It'll just become a messy pulp that's not good for anything. And most timber cutters will walk right past a piece of decaying maple to get to a good maple. But a craftsman searches out this kind of wood and he'll take it back to his shop and he begins to take away all those layers that aren't good for anything. He begins to peel back those soft tissuey layers until he gets to some hard wood. And he takes that hard wood, that spalted maple, in his shop and he attaches it to a solid piece of swamp ash. It's a very stable wood. And once he attaches those two pieces of wood together, he puts them on a lathe and he begins to shape the guitar and pattern it. And in the process of doing that and sealing it with a sealer, the rot goes away. It never comes back. Now, all these little marks, they stay forever. And what these marks actually are is where different colonies of that white rot fungi have gotten into the tree and they've set up these little battle lines. It's almost like this part of the tree is mine, you can have this part's mine, you can have this part, and they just kind of war at each other. But like I said, once it becomes sealed, once it becomes attached to this other piece of wood, then the maple no longer rots. And after I got to thinking about that, I thought, what a wonderful example that is of what Christ does in our lives. He takes something that otherwise would be totally useless, and he attaches it to something like this side. You see how clear and plain this is? When we allow ourselves to be attached to Jesus like that and sealed with his most precious blood, then he takes away all that rottenness that would be in us. He takes away all that stuff that's unpleasant. Now the marks are still there. The marks stay there forever. Those are a reminder of, in my own life, of things that I've done, things that I've said that I can never take back, pains and hurts that I've felt. So this side reminds me of that. This side, which to me represents Jesus, reminds me of the life that I'll have one day. It'll be a perfect life. And I just thought that was really special how in the process of buying a guitar and in the process of investigating how this wood turns out this way, that there was a life lesson in there we could learn. And I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I hope you can apply it to your own lives, and I just pray that God will bless you in everything that you do.